witness a seismic event. Now, let the party begin.
Your healthy radio addiction starts now.
Ride or die, 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 fly. Know that they ride or die. Cody, God is my guys. Know that they fly. Know that they ride or die. I keep wearing no filter. I got no filter. No filter. I got no filter.
Oh my God, call the ambulance, man. There was a freaking homicide last night on the CBS debate between Vice President candidates J.D. Vance and Tim Tampon Waltz. He got destroyed. My goodness, you had J.D. Vance up there schooling him the whole time. And he had these blank stares. He was discombobulated the whole 9 yards. And a lot of information did come out of the debate last night. You actually got some policy positions from the far left, but he didn't do Kamala any favors last night. It was that bad. It was that bad.
Do I need to ask why why you said Tim Tampon?
That's because he put tampons in boys' bathrooms in Minnesota.
Oh,
so they call him Tim Tampon.
So he's stuck in a sticky situation and the string fell off and you can't get it out?
Basically. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Basically.
Okay.
It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it.
Okay.
That's how bad he got hit last night.
Mm.
You know, here is something that is going all over the internet right now. And I'm going to take some clips of this and we're going to give our opinions on this. But when he was talking about gun control, okay, gun control, tell me what you think.
I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it. Look, the NRA.
Yeah, he actually said that he became friends with school shooters. He's worse than Biden with these gaffes.
Why would you want to become friends with a school shooter?
And I just can look at Kamala's response that he just did not say that.
She was probably at her hands and her hands over her face going, no, what?
I don't know what the heck you were watching, Waltz one. My God, man, get rid of the little camps and actually watch what was being said. My goodness gracious, man. That's the problem with a lot of people is they don't actually look at issues. They vote and they act on emotion.
Oh, I agree. I heard absolutely nothing but everybody stopping in yesterday stating that, yeah, it's not looking good for Kamala's side.
Well, you know, there's a lot of serious issues happening right now worldwide. And remember yesterday I was talking about, hey, you better start prepping, man. You better start getting your stuff in order.
Mm-hmm.
We might be seeing the start of World War III happening right now. Iran just launched missiles on Israel. Iran. We're looking at regional instability and some very dangerous times right now. And you got to have serious people in office. Serious people. This, if you're listening on Spotify and stuff, you probably won't see this, but this was the scene yesterday.
Hold on. Okay, guys, we got to get off the roof. These are coming down right next to us here. They're coming down. One just about. We got to go inside.
That was the scene in Israel, launched from Iran. They brought in everybody's on they're on edge right now.
You think?
And Netanyahu said that retaliation's coming. So you're going to have a full-blown Middle East war probably. So why was it important to look at issues instead of this emotion that everybody votes on? Do you think she can handle a situation like that?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I'm going to stick to the same thing that I've been saying since day one. For one, she never gets her point across with what her...
Well, she hasn't done an interview in 75 days.
Well, and...
Or I'm talking about a press conference.
And there's one of the first problems right there. And do I think she can handle what's going on there? No, I don't. Why? Ignorance. Complete ignorance.
And she's not tested whatsoever. She can't get policy positions. So when you start voting for emotion, this is what you get. You're going to have a full-on scale war between Iran and Israel. And I'm sorry to say, Israel's a nuclear power. Do you really think that they're going to let all these countries come at them? They're going to start using tactical nuclear weapons.
Great. It's going to be like prepping for COVID all over again.
So this debate was a serious thing. And when you sit back and say, well, he won the debate, come on, be honest. I don't care our political differences or not. But on substance, we're in a real bad place right now.
Well, between that, those guys on strike, and us not having a president that has a clue right now.
But if you look at her record, Waltz, as a prosecutor, which a lot of people probably didn't, she did not prosecute violent crime.
No.
She didn't. You actually got to look into their records instead of regurgitating media. You actually got to do the research. And that's the problem with people.
That is the problem with people. Nobody is doing their research. Nobody's doing their due diligence and checking the facts and looking everything up. They're just talking because of based on one specific channel that they listen to, you know, as far as like news source.
And this is a person that didn't get one vote. One vote. She was just destroyed in her presidential run. She was a DEI hire for vice president. I don't care. Again, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. Have your facts, have your issues, and look what's going on around you. Now with this shoreman strike, they could have used Taft-Hentley to stop it for 90 days. But Biden ain't. For every week the port's closed, it takes a month to get caught up. You're going to start seeing oil go up. You're going to start seeing food go up, everything. Serious times call for serious people. There was a reason why there was no wars under Trump. Because they knew he wouldn't play with them. I remember the first time he had Xi Jinping, or whatever his name is, from China, down in Florida having dinner. While he's having dinner, he's launching rockets in Syria. How could so many people be against the guy who doesn't want war? But now we're getting into a deadlier war. Because what's going to happen? We're allied with Israel. Russia is allied with Iran. Those missiles are scary, aren't they?
A little bit. A little bit.
Actually, what's your thought as a mother and grandmother when seeing something like that?
Keep it over there. Don't bring it here.
But it's gonna spread.
That is like the first thing when I saw that was keep it over there. Don't bring it here. And why do we got to get involved? Why? Why does the U.S. always got to get involved in that kind of stuff when it's not on our ground and we want to keep it off our ground?
That's because the United States feels like it has to be the world's police.
But it shouldn't have to feel that way.
You know, she actually went out there and said that there is no soldiers, military in a war zone. They got 40,000 freaking troops over there. 40,000. Here's some more. Let's go on here. Family separation. This was immigration.
The final point, Margaret, is you ask about family separation. Right now in this country, Margaret, we have 320,000 children that the Department of Homeland Security has effectively lost. Some of them have been sex trafficked. Some of them hopefully are at homes with their families. Some of them have been used as drug trafficking mules. The real family separation policy in this country is unfortunately Kamala Harris's wide open southern border. And I'd ask my fellow Americans to remember when she came into office, she said she was going to do this. Real leadership would be saying, you know what, I screwed up. We're going to go back to Donald Trump's border policies. I wish that she would do that. It would be good for all of us.
There's a lot of talk about that lately. You're bringing that many kids into the country and you lose them?
Yeah, how do you lose that many kids?
I'll leave it to the government. They'll do anything. They're screw ups anyway. But those that are not from the streets, that live an ordinary life, I guess you would say,
Or sheltered.
wouldn't know in places like Chicago, the butcher shops where they do this stuff with kids. Just put them on a bed, hook them up with the drips, and they get used.
Ew, can we not?
But that's what happens to these kids.
Can we not? Ew.
When you don't have a secure border, you get all the worst of the worst coming over. And what have they done? On day one, or during the presidential debates in 2020, Biden said, come in. That's why there was a rush on the border. Come in.
Well, and since he made it basically sound like it's okay, here they're all coming.
And then we're having these big problems in places like Chicago, New York, Los Angeles. Jobs are gone. Regardless of what the mainstream media has to say. When you actually get on the ground and talk to people, that's why it's so important to have independent journalists. It's so important to have YouTube channels. It's so important to have Twitters or X now. That way you can get the message actually out to the people. That's why X is the #1 news platform right now on the internet.
There's a question. How many children did they lose track of?
350,000. 350,000.
That's a lot of kids. And hopefully they're at home with their families. How do you lose track?
And the final point, Margaret, is you ask about family separation. Right now in this country, Margaret, we have 320,000 children that the Department of Homeland Security.
I'm off by 30,000.
320.
That's still a lot of kids.
While saying that that's a lie.
Everything's a lie
when
to the left, but that came out of the Homeland Security statistics. You got to present an argument with me. You just can't say that's not true or she didn't do that. Where's your facts on this? That was a Department of Homeland Security report just released.
Now, what do you think about what Mordo says, saying both parties sold us out?
That's why I was a big supporter of RFK. I wanted it independent in there. I am so tired of this two-party system. And it is funny and it is hypocritical that when Donald Trump wasn't running for office, you had people like Oprah Winfrey actually wrote a letter when she had the young Donald Trump on in the 80s. If you ever want to run for president, I'll be your running mate. But because he beat Hillary Clinton, this has happened to this country ever since. If you think that woman cares about this country, you're stupid. And I got that right now. You're talking about being fact-checked? No. He wasn't able to go in to the rest of his things because they wanted to turn his mic
When they
off.
were talking, at one point, Vance wanted to correct something about how Haitians got into this country. And he was right. And the moderators wouldn't let him correct it. It's very interesting.
Margaret, but
Thank you, Senator. We have so much to get to.
Margaret, I think it's important
we're
because
going to turn out of the
debate-
economy. Thank
Margaret,
you.
the rules were that
The
you guys
economy,
weren't going
we're-
to fact check. And since you're fact checking me, I think it's important to say what's actually going on. That
Thank
is
you,
the
Senator.
facilitation of illegal immigration, Margaret, by
Thank
our
you,
own
Senator, for
leadership.
describing the legal process.
Kamala-
We
and
have
Kamala
so much
Harris
to get
opened up
to,
that
Senator.
pathway.
Those
We have
laws
so
have been
much.
on the books since 1990.
Thank you, gentlemen.
The
we want to
CBP
have.
app has not been on the book.
That was Chris Cuomo, and he's a far leftist. Even said he was right. Again, facts matter, not emotion with me. That was from a DHS report.
I hate to say it, but between the two VPs and two president elects, these debates have been more like
What's happening with these debates is that the media is pulling for the left like it always is.
Well, that's
and
always
that
how it
should
goes.
scare the hell out of everybody. He actually had a question yesterday, Waltz, about freedom of speech. And he says, well, you can't have hate speech or disinformation. For one, who decides what's disinformation? And two, he said, well, you can't call fire in a movie theater. You actually got somebody pushing for censorship. Known fact. That's what they did. Every time that Waltz was in trouble, they tried to change the subject. That is not the moderator's job. They should have had Mike Ball do the moderating.
Yeah, he would have done a better job.
And these are so-called professionals?
This is insane. I don't know. I think this is worse than 2020's election.
Well, either way, I think it's going to blow up on both sides, if you ask me. Whoever wins. Because, you know what?
I hate to say
the media is the ones that actually divided everybody.
I hate to say it, and you'll probably be like, well, no, you're voting. I don't even want to vote. I'm registered to vote for a presidential election for the first time, and I don't want to. Here's why. Because they both are looking awful. They both look awful right now. It's like nobody gets a full understanding of what everybody's side is, what's right, what's wrong.
Well, you know what? Listen to this.
Forget about what's left and what's right. What's right and wrong is what we need to do. And so far, a lot of things that they're both doing is just making things worse.
Listen to this. And this is jaw dropping because this is the kind of propaganda that got into this guy's head. Social media is someone's private microphone. The Constitution doesn't give you the right to someone else's bullhorn. But Mark Zuckerberg came out and said the federal government was trying to regulate him by censoring. You can't, the government and private, they can't get intertwined. But right there, he is in agreement with censorship until it happens to him.
I think this is going to be the worst election yet.
But what do you think about that? Somebody actually believes in censorship. Hey, Mike, do you believe in censorship?
I don't think people should be censored. I think people should be able to have their opinion and voice their own opinion with nobody else cutting them off. Freedom of speech.
It is freedom of speech.
Well, and let people say what they need to say.
And if it wasn't for independent creators, you wouldn't have news.
No, because nobody knows what they're talking about anymore. And I'm not smart. I'm not intelligent when it comes to all this stuff. That's why I have to do my research and I have to look things up. But you know what's making it hard? It's hard to find any information about Kamala Harris's viewpoints because they're not anywhere, to be honest with you.
Hey, Mike, I sent you a link to your Instagram if you want to come on. I know you're into this kind of stuff too. But to actually say that you don't have a right to say what you want because it's the internet or it's social media.
It's the internet and it's social media, which seems to be the only time people get actually pretty accurate stuff. Because I personally feel that I go to more to social media than I do to watching the actual news, because the actual news is only talking about one side.
You can tell that too.
You can totally tell it, and that's why I don't even bother watching the news. I just go into Google and look up what I want to know from each side, and then I double check it and triple check it to make sure that what they're saying on the first one is accurate.
This was Tim Waltz when he was, he claimed that he was in China or Taiwan, wherever it was, during Tiananmen Square. See, he has a problem with the truth. His military record, he embellished, found out it was a lie. And this is how he tries to answer that question.
Governor, just to follow up on that, the question was, can you explain the discrepancy?
All I said on this was I got there that summer and misspoke on this. So I will just, that's what I've said. So I was in Hong Kong and China during the democracy protests, went in. And from that, I learned a lot of what needed to be in governance.
Thank you, Governor.
Kind of studying, huh? He's stuttering.
Okay, Mr. Walt Liquor, you're stating that Facebook is a what is that? A private
platform. So the government can't be telling you what to do.
Okay, but really? Because, you know, I see a lot of censorship going along all over Facebook because people are reporting people. And how do you know if the government's not involved? Do you know for a fact the government's not involved with what people are putting on social media, including Facebook? Do you know? Do you know for a fact? Because nobody does. Nobody knows.
Well, everybody knows that the government's trying to clamp down.
But I'm saying you don't know as far as like Facebook. For all you know, it could be somebody from the government that's seen somebody's post in the.
Oh, that's been a proven fact.
But I'm just saying. You people don't understand basic concepts. I'll bet you think Alex Jones.
Okay, do me a favor, Walt. Put some facts out there, will you? Put some facts. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah.
Put some facts out there. Where is your facts? You did. Where?
Nobody's ever done that. Oh my God. He's watching CNN or something.
I don't care where you get your news from.
Oh, he says he did. He's not fact checking nothing.
He said that it was a lie. It's not that much. It came out in a DHS report.
Mm-hmm.
So how is that not true?
Yeah. Crazy.
We need serious business. Serious stuff. is going on around this world right now. And you're going to tell me that you want to put your kids' lives, your grandkids' lives in the hands of those people? They're already in office right now. They could be doing something. Right now, they are in office. And they're going to talk about all the stuff they can do. Well, for the past 3.5 years, we've been overrun by illegal immigrants. Our towns are being destroyed. Come to Chicago. Come sit on the south side, west side, see how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even walk through those neighborhoods. Go to Detroit. See how they feel.
And if you actually have a female, why don't you take your female and go have her ride the L? Because let me tell you, you ain't going to let her ride it alone.
And then they're talking about, well, this immigration bill, we tried to pass it. You had $60 billion in aid to Ukraine in that bill. And also authorizing 1.8 million illegal immigrants to come over and then to grant them citizenship. I wouldn't have voted for that bill either. But they don't want to give you the meat of the bill. All it is a ping pong ball for these people. How is it? Let me ask you this. How is it?
What?
AOC was worth like nothing. She was a bartender.
Who?
Got into Congress. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Yeah, I don't do abbreviations. You got to give me names.
She's worth $25 million now. What's that telling you?
How?
They go in broke, they come out rich.
Yeah, I wonder how. How's her knee pad? It's good doing. She got stock in knee pads? I don't know. That's what I'm thinking.
Now you're going to bring up Putin. See, this is where you got to get rid of the ignorance.
I wish you can get this dude on here to go debate with him.
NATO promised then the Soviet Union that they would not expand towards its border. And if you do not know your history of World War II, millions of Russians were murdered, killed by Germany. They invaded. So, yeah, they're particular about their borders. And when this little dictator, Zelensky, got in, he wants to join NATO.
No, his next comment was just funny. Sorry. You're just regurgitating right-wing talking points.
How am I doing that? This is facts. It's in...
It doesn't matter if it's right or left. He's telling facts. He's telling points. Do you not do your research, dude?
James Baker himself said not another inch to get the Soviet Union to back down. But I'll give $60 billion to Ukraine while we got hurricane victims pleading, which Trump was down there. He got Elon to get Starlink up. What has Kamala done besides a stage photo? Where are they? You're the president of the United States. Jump on a helicopter, go.
Has Kamala done anything with the hurricane people?
No, she hasn't been down there yet. Trump's been down there.
I know. I seen. I'm just, I saw. She ain't doing what she should be doing. Where's Biden in all this? Has he even been out in public?
The Minsk Accord, they didn't abide by it. You got to learn your stuff, man. You know, they got to learn.
He's still coming at you.
They got to get facts. Is what it is. That's what the left, man. They can't stand facts. They can't fight back. They only fight back on emotion.
Aaron says Kamala is the future.
What future?
What future? At the rate we're going, there ain't gonna be no future. The rate everything's going, nobody's doing anything to get anything done around this.
You're
world.
talking about the Minsk accord we signed it. What the hell do we have anything to do with it?
Why would we sign it?
That's our problem in the United States. Everything before World War I, we cared about ourselves. Now we got to be the world's police because of democracy. Why you got this party out there screaming about it? And they're trying to censor everybody.
Oh, man.
So the Democrats are trying to say that Donald Trump hates democracy, that he wants to be a dictator, but they're all advocating now, openly advocating the censorship of our speech. A fundamental bedrock of American democracy is the free flow of information. And when government gets involved in censoring information, that is the beginning of totalitarianism. What they say is, well, we don't want to censor all speech, just the lies. But they want to determine what's the truth and what's a lie. And who was the biggest perpetrator of lies during the COVID epidemic? It was the government itself. They were the ones promoting disinformation and misinformation.
Remember how we were all getting censored if you were a creator during COVID?
Yeah.
You couldn't even post anything.
It wouldn't let you.
And it comes to be true that the so-called conspiracist theorists were right. They were right. It happened. COVID started, what was it? 2019, when election season was just kicking off in December. And in January is when I told you this thing's going to get bad. Up until that point, we had great freaking inflation was at 1.8% until that hit. That was the worst pandemic since the Spanish flu. So yeah, there's going to be disruptions. Yeah, they closed every damn thing down. Now they're talking about we have this many jobs we produce. Those were rebound jobs of people that lost their jobs during COVID. Any normal human being can tell that.
Mm-hmm. Heck, even if you look around today, people have been having a hard time, even though COVID is not as big as it was when it first started. There's still a lot of businesses going out of business due to the fact that they had to
We went through some small towns on Ryden. How many businesses were closed?
Well, they have to shut down during COVID. And then you know how hard it is to get those customers back that were going prior to COVID even occurring. So there's still businesses shutting down to this day based on the fact that COVID screwed it up. Because why? Because everybody's freaking out. Everybody's freaking out.
You know what's funny? I can put this into perspective when it comes to bikers, specifically for club members, how they are profiled relentlessly from cops. Same thing with social media and censoring. If you have a viewpoint, we're coming after you.
I like that one.
Actually, it was during George W. Bush's term.
Oh, he's apologizing for misspeaking on the Minsk agreement.
Minsk was, I think, 2015 or something like that. Anyway.
Wow, this is fun.
It is fun because you get to see. It's just like our daughter.
Oh, God.
Does she know any issues?
No. Her biggest thing is college. College money getting paid back. Forgiven. College forgiveness. School loan forgiveness. If they have something to say about that, she's in.
Denuclearization of Ukraine happened when the Soviet Union fell. That was 91 or something like that.
That was like back when we got
They don't know I'm
school.
A history buff.
that was like back when we got out of high school.
That was Soviet Union stuff, man.
It's not called the Soviet Union anymore. Check your history books. Look what posted.
Commander. You know what? I already told you my deal. I almost got fired from my job for what I said on social media. They tried to make me take down a video. And what happened?
Is take down your video or get fired?
And what happened?
He got fired because he refused to take down a video. Do Bike Club censor? What the hell?
Do Bike Club censor? And what is your context of the question?
I know that's just a line. What is that based on? Is that
that's what I need to know.
There needs to be a little bit more in-depth question with that, Aaron.
Margaret, my point is that we already have massive child separations thanks to Kamala Harris's open border. And I didn't accuse Kamala Harris of inviting drug mules. I said that she enabled the Mexican drug cartels to operate freely in this country. And we know that they use children as drug mules. And it is a disgrace and it has to stop. Look, I think what Tim said just doesn't pass the smell test. For 3 years, Kamala Harris went out bragging that she was going to undo Donald Trump's border policy. She did exactly that. We had a record number of illegal crossings. We had a record number of fentanyl coming into our country. And now that she's running for president, or a few months before, she says that somehow she got religion and cared a lot about a piece of legislation. The only thing that she did when she became the vice president, when she became the appointed border czar, was to undo 94 Donald Trump executive actions that opened the border. This problem is leading to massive problems in the United States of America. Parents who can't afford health care, schools that are overwhelmed. It's got to stop, and it will when Donald Trump is president again.
They did discontinue a lot of his stuff. Stay in Mexico. They've been fighting Texas for trying to protect their border. California just passed a law. Let me get this. You have to card everybody, right?
Yeah.
For cigarettes.
We're supposed to card everybody that doesn't look over the age of 41, but nowadays we pretty much card everybody unless they've been coming there for years.
California just passed the law the other day banning voter ID. They banned it.
Why?
So everybody could vote. Hell, in Minneapolis, where this guy's from, they just put in non-citizen police officers. So now you have non-citizens able to arrest citizens. But California just passed that. Ban voter ID. Why are they so scared of people having to present their ID?
Because they're having people vote that don't have any. They're having people that aren't citizens vote.
That's because I don't have a whole time to argue with you, Walt. I'm doing a show.
I know he expects you to like do something with every single comment. It's like he sees them, doesn't mean he's gonna respond to them all. It's not all about you, dude.
So actually, you got to get carded for cigarettes. You got to get carded for alcohol.
Yeah.
You got to have an ID to get a job.
Yeah.
But you don't need an ID to vote.
Well, you need an ID to purchase a gun too.
If you don't see what's going on, something's wrong with you. You need all this stuff, but you don't need an ID to vote. And it's great what Youngkin did in Virginia. You got to vote on a paper ballot now. Screw those electronic machines. It's been proven you to hack into them damn things.
Yeah, they proved that after last 2020's election.
David on Facebook, he's 69 and he's been carded.
Oh, yeah. You know, and the biggest thing now, I mean, I don't know how it is in every state, but here, a lot of companies expect you to scan the ID. You go into a grocery store, like even Walmart, they will actually physically scan your ID into the computer system, which no, they're not hacking into any of your stuff. It's just telling them that you're over 21. Because everybody's like, now they're going to know where I've been.
And Twisted Fishing TV, I got to go look at his channel. I'm a huge fisherman. Indiana voters have to have an ID, and they've never had any issues. So why not have something like that so we don't have issues where we have to say, hey, this election's messed up?
Yeah.
The day after that election, when I went to bed, he was winning by a lot. In the morning, all of a sudden he wasn't. I was like, what did I tell you? Chicago rope-a-dope.
Yeah.
That's how they run it in Chicago. They know what they're doing.
People don't seem to realize, because now everybody's talking about getting carded, but when you get carded for cigarettes or alcohol, it's the person that's ringing you out saving their own butt. Because I don't know about
you'll go to jail
about anywhere else, but here in Illinois, if you don't card somebody and it's a sting, the company's fined, you're fined. You lose your job. You can chance jail time. There's a lot of issues if you serve a minor.
Mm-hmm.
If you get busted and there's a sting, and I know for a fact that they do stings, because when a sting goes on in one of our other locations, it is an automatic email to all the other stores to make sure that they're doing their job, because there was a sting. Somebody just got fired, which actually just happened last week. At one of our locations, a new person did not card properly. It was a minor. They got busted. They got fined. The company got fined. The said employee lost their job immediately.
Me and you can, I'll have you on the show, Walt. I'll debate you. Bring the facts, though, man. Mordo, or founders wanted only property. It's true. It's true. But what's great about a republic is it chooses its own destiny. That don't make them bad. At the time, it was a different time period, a different history. What we think is bad now is actually normal to them. So going back, and I want to ask you, and I'm going to show you this. And it's a very simple question. Do you want this in the United States?
Okay. Okay, guys, we got to get off the roof. These are coming down right next to us here. They're coming down. One just about. We got to go inside.
Because warfare really isn't fought on the ground anymore. It's fought by missiles. It's fought by airplanes dropping stuff. Do you want that in the United States?
No, not at all.
Because if we go into a full-scale war, that's the stuff that's going to happen. See, they say the United States can never get hit. Bull. They got better weapons we do. Hypersonic missiles. We can't shoot them down. They got nukes on torpedoes now. You know how easy it is to do a tsunami? Just by detonating a nuke close to the shores. That's what people don't think of when they vote. Hey, is this person actually capable? Now everybody's talking about Putin. You think Harris is going to be able to talk to Putin?
No. I'm sorry.
He's going to laugh at her. And this dude Waltz has confirmed ties to CCP, which is China. Confirmed ties. Really? We shipped all our jobs overseas. What else you want to give them? They were buying up farmland in the United States until it was put to a stop. What else do you want to give everybody? What about our kids' future? What about our grandkids' future? Do we got to keep on giving? My grandmother's mother came directly from Italy. Had to do it through Ellis Island. Had to do it the right way. So why is it fair for others to come right over the border? We are not the wet nurse for the world. And what I seen on that debate stage was scary. Everything from the censorship to not owning up to what they have done the last 3.5 years. And you got to see some policy positions which were scary as hell. He sat there and tried to lie about signing a bill in Minnesota where it was a doctor's choice if the baby was still alive after a failed abortion. Then they brought up a girl that was in Georgia or whatever that had to travel to North Carolina after they said, well, they weren't giving her the chance to get an abortion and she died. What they didn't tell you was that she took the pills, the abortion the day afters, and it didn't work. They leave out the facts. But that's a known fact up in Minnesota. They signed that bill. In the original writing of that bill, that's what was said. He's talking about how, he got onto the Jan 6, which a lot's coming out on that one, about an insurrection. Look what happened in Minneapolis. They burnt it down. Tell me I'm lying. They burn it down.
Aaron wants to know, why is it wrong if China buys up land?
Why is it wrong if China buys up land?
In the U.S.?
In the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
You going to be able to feed yourself? What they're buying is for their people, not for us. And once you start destroying your infrastructure in a country, you're done. Why do you think Japan did what they did during World War II, go down the coast of Asia? They needed the resources. They needed the oil. They needed the coal. They didn't have it in Japan. So once you lose your resources, you lose everything.
Why is the U.S. everybody's go-to when they need the get out of jail free card in other countries?
That's not wrong. Not being able to feed your kids, your grandkids. Right now, Biden has killed the oil reserve. He's got 325 billion barrels or something. It's supposed to be up closer to 800. We only got 1 or 2 weeks supply in an emergency of oil. But he'll go and buy it from Iran, who hates us, when we got it sitting right under our own feet. Didn't China buy? They were buying it near military bases. They were buying land right beside a military base. You got to educate yourself on this stuff. What have you learned today just by watching some clips? Because you didn't get to watch the debate.
No, I didn't. And I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I think all it would do is piss me off.
Why?
Because, okay, Between the two VPs and the two presidents, they're too busy going back and forth at each other and nitpicking at each other that nobody's really giving a crap about the United States country as a whole and the people that actually live here.
Mhm. And yes, Pixel, they own the American debt. They own us. Why do you think the politicians are owned? We're 32 something $1 trillion in debt right now, and it's owned by mostly China. And China's going all over Africa right now for its resources. What are you crying for?
I don't know. It just started.
Is it because you're learning?
No, it's because I'm getting like extremely pissed off because, you know, the United States is always bailing everybody else out, right? They're giving Ukraine all this money. They're giving all these countries other money. They're giving other countries weapons. What the hell? Who's going to bail out the United States when the United States gets into trouble?
Well, what's funny is in the history of the world, empires only lasted on average 200 years. Average.
Because to be honest with you,
that's where we're at right now.
To be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know about anybody else, but I don't want these bombs, missiles, wars, fighting on U.S. territory, U.S. ground. And here's my other question. Here's my question to you, Hollywood. Okay, since I'm not 100%, you know, smarticle when it comes to everything going on in the government. Where the hell is this country going to be in 10 years?
If it don't get straightened out, it's not going to be.
Exactly. And shouldn't people start worrying about that situation?
Everybody should be worried right now.
But the question is everybody worried about the fact that where this world's going to be in 10 years because of the fact that the government is screwing up the United States more than anything I've ever seen in my entire life?
That's because they went to the strategy of how they're going to control the people is to give them instead of working for it. Then what happens? People come to rely on the government. They got their control.
Well, the United States...
And if you actually listen to the history, and please check this out, please. Every major issue this country has ever faced, from slavery, Civil War, Jim Crow laws, it was Democrats. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Every major issue has been from their side. Their side.
Aaron wants to know, do we need to censor the media?
We don't need to censor the media.
I don't think
nobody needs to be. Hey, if normal people would just go and check out facts, like the guy I was arguing with before. Well, that's not true to 320,000. Well, if you would have read the Homeland report, you would have seen, yeah, it was. Go ahead.
I don't think anybody in this entire world needs to be censored. I think everybody should be able to voice their opinion. But they also need to start out by saying, and this is my opinion. 90% of the time, I know when I do a show, a lot of times I'm telling everybody this is my opinion. Because we all have opinions, just like we all have buttholes.
What's funny was I used to be an avid CNN watcher.
Yeah, true.
Because they would only report the news. They would give their sources. They would tell you what was going on the ground. Now, it's all talk. It's opinion. So how am I going to watch something like that when I'm trying to get a news on, say, the hurricane going on down south right now? And again, we'll give other countries the money, but we can't even get our own people help.
And that's just it. The United States needs to stop giving away money to other countries and worry about the people that live in this one. Just stop. Stop bailing everybody else out. We have people having major issues in this country. I don't care about Ukraine. What about the people down in Florida, North Carolina, Georgia that went through this terrible, terrible hurricane? What about these people? These people need help. Screw Ukraine. Get your money back. I don't know. Bounce that check. I don't care. But take care of where you live. And this is for all these people in the government. Take care of the pot you piss in. Stop taking care of other countries. This country comes first.
There goes my video off of YouTube. Do we need to censor Pride? No, we don't need to censor anybody. I'm not into censoring anybody for their views. I believe in debating it, but I don't believe in censoring it, because if I wanted to censor viewpoints I didn't like, then I'm a hypocrite. Am I or am I not? Do you believe even though you have the worst of the worst talking smack, they should have a right to say it?
It's their opinion. Let them voice it. Who cares? You're censoring me because I just made a comment.
I ain't doing it. The platform is.
Well, YouTube might. And they shouldn't be allowed to do that because it's an opinion. It's my opinion. And I'm right. Should be able to have it.
The problem is people need to stop being so wimpy when something is said they don't like. I agree. Scotty Too Hottie. The American government has been giving money to other countries forever, and the American people don't have a damn thing to say about it. It is so wrong because we don't hold our representatives to the job that they were sent there to do. Politics was never considered a business or a career. When the old fellas got done with what they were doing, they went back to their farms. They went back and did their own thing. It wasn't a career for them. And that's what we got now is career politicians, like I just said. AOC was a bartender. Next thing you know, she's a millionaire. How do you get that way without being dirty?
You don't.
Pelosi, her husband sold shares of Visa and made $500,000 because they had the insider track on what was going on with the company, which is illegal. So they can make $500,000, but they're sent there to represent us. It's unconstitutional for the government to give one dime to Ukraine or Israel, yet they gave 11 million per day to Israel. True. The American government was formed to provide a standing military and judicial system. Even at the beginning, George Washington didn't want a standing army. That's a known fact. It was Alexander Hamilton that pushed him into that. Trudeau in Canada was worth $9 million in 2015. He's worth $100 million now. So that just goes to show you they're up there trying to get rich off of their positions. There's two different classes within society. You're rich and you're poor. The rich are always going to try to keep the poor down. That's why they depend on low information voters. They depend on it. They don't want you smart. They don't want you to see their voting record. But because you got a D or an R after your ideology, they know you're going to vote for them anyway. China.
What? I'm getting mad.
Why you getting mad?
Getting mad, bro. I'm getting mad, bro. Because that's just it. Nobody's doing their due diligence. They're just listening to this, and this. And, you know, I don't care if it's on social media. I don't care if it's the actual media. I don't care. You're listening to a lot of people's one-sided accounts. And that's when you get confused and you sit here and go, I don't even know who's telling the truth anymore. I don't even know who's doing right, who's doing wrong. And that's the whole thing. It's all about being right and wrong, not left or right.
Aaron, thanks, Josie, for that. I appreciate that. Aaron says, I'm trying to get you to think that some censorship is important.
I don't think any is.
What I can tell you is those 18-year-old, 19-year-old boys that died on Omaha Beach, those 18 or 19-year-old boys that died in Quezon, those 18 or 19-year-old boys that died in Bellevue, that's why I don't believe in censorship. They didn't die for the government to be able to control you. They didn't die for you not to be free to express what you felt. That's why I don't believe in any type of censorship. A lot of these kids nowadays don't know the horrors of what was before them, where hundreds of thousands of soldiers got cut down in the European theater or the Pacific theater.
And that's because you got to keep in mind these kids in the younger generation, when they're sitting in history class, they're only being taught what's out of a book. And who writes that book? That book is one-sided. I don't think the history book has ever cited both sides.
You know what schools should do? Why they have the chance right now is get people that actually served in World War II or Holocaust victims. Bring them into the classrooms.
Hear it straight from somebody that's been there. That is the best way to get your information. You want to get information? Okay, why don't you go sit with a gray beard? I bet you he'll tell you some stuff.
See, that's where you mix everything out. Censorship has to deal with speech. Public indecency laws, that's a whole, you don't have the right to, come on.
That's totally different than
censorship is free speech, First Amendment.
What does walking around naked have anything to do with it?
Twisted Fishing TV. I am going to sub to that. Everybody who loves fishing, sub to his channel. The news isn't the news anymore. We don't get facts and make our own mind up. We get force-fed op-eds, and that's what it is. Like I said, CNN, I used to watch because it was all news.
100%. 100% true. It's almost like you're forced all this information, and the thing is that then it gives you extra work because you actually got to look it up and make sure what they're saying is true. But see, that's just it. Nobody's doing that. Nobody wants to look up and fact check and make sure what's being said is true.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, you get in your own bubble. Like you just said, you don't fact check anything. Okay, if you watch MSNBC, they were melting down. Oh my God, who watches that crap?
Well, like you're going to watch, I'm not going to even put out a specific news channel, okay? But if you're watching specific news channels, you're going to take what they're saying on that channel as gold, as like the gospel truth. Well, guess what? Look it up. I bet you it's not all true.
Most of anything that comes out of CNN or MSNBC or these, and you know what? That's one thing. Journalism used to be journalism because people like Jeff Bezos didn't own the Washington Post. So basically now you have it to where he puts out what he wants you to hear. It's not news. Or you have an FCC that just made an illegal move to give George Soros control of 200 radio stations. What were you going to say?
No, I was just reading what that guy put. I think he was talking about his indecency comment saying freedom of expression.
How does that have anything to do with censorship?
I wish this was harder instead of have a pad on because I just want to bang my head on it right now. Oh my God. Okay, go join a nudist colony, dude. I don't know what to tell you.
He's just trying to challenge and
Rockefeller controlled. What does that even mean?
Well, what that is Rockefeller controlled. He was one of the richest families in the world. And if you put it into that context, the rich people, they do want a new world order where they're the only ones controlling everybody.
You know, I used to always consider myself like years ago. Okay. I'm not talking now. I'm talking years ago. When I grew up, when I was young, living at home with my mommy and daddy, I used to always consider myself like a middle-class kind of person. Okay. There's no such thing anymore. I don't think.
No, there ain't. We've been squeezed.
I think the middle class have been squeezed to the poor class.
When you have to have two people working and say you're making $100,000 a year and that ain't enough, something's wrong.
That ain't enough. No, it ain't enough. Not now. That could have been enough maybe 10, 15 years ago, but it sure ain't enough now.
I like you, Aaron. You're pushing out boundaries. I like that. I push boundaries all the time. That's why I'm a shock jock. But that's a debate. The debate me and Chuck had the other day. It was a debate on the issues that had nothing to do with emotion. And at this point in our country's history, in world history, we can't have it to where we can't debate it. Because there's some very dangerous stuff happening right now. When I seen Iran starting to launch missiles, I was like, oh no. Because now there's going to be an escalation in that war. And it's going to spread. The worst of it's in Revelations in the Bible. They were firing missiles over the old city. They didn't care if it was their holy mosque on the base of the temple. They didn't care where it hit.
A lot of people you talk to, if we want to get on the religious aspect, will say that a lot of things that are written in Revelations is coming true.
Oh, yeah, it is. And you don't have to be a religious zealot to see it.
No, but you have to actually have read it and not assume it. Am I wrong?
Well, you're right.
You got to be able to be, got to understand it. Me, it's been a long time since I picked up the good book. So I probably couldn't argue with Hollywood over it because I
think religion is what destroys a lot of humanity.
And see, that's why you go out in public. You don't talk about it. You don't talk religion. You don't talk politics. I was taught that all my life because it shouldn't matter. Hey, who you voting for? Hey, are you Democrat or Republican? I'm a human. That's what I am. I'm going to vote whichever way I personally feel is in the right. And right now, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to be dead honest because it doesn't seem like you're getting true statements and true facts from both sides. You don't really comprehend or understand, which is going to make me have to do my due diligence and do a lot of reading because I like to look up the facts, which even during doing a show here on YouTube, we don't go based off one article.
Basically, you'll be able to hear this over on Spotify or over on any podcast platform. You can see it at Facebook, Insane Throttle. It's not going to be up on YouTube because I already know they're going to take it down.
No, they won't.
Yeah.
No, they won't. No, they won't. No, they won't.
So let me know what you guys think, man. Hop over on, because I'm also on True Social now. You to get all your biker news right from the sources. Make up your own mind at Insane Throttle over there on True Social. But lively discussion today. You guys rock and roll, man. We'll be back tomorrow with another topic.
Is an in-depth look at the trials and tribulations of street gang and motorcycle club life. This isn't the run-of-the-mill book that doesn't give the goods. This book will go into detail of events that actually happened. All materials in this book have been approved by those involved. There is nothing poetic, nor is there any price worth paying for the life we choose to live on the streets. James Hollywood Machikari, Brotherhood and Betrayal.